Myself, Dr. Hanuman Prasad. I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, IARE, which is located at Dundigal. The name of the topic that I am going to discuss in today's session is from overall gender sensitization. As I have completed all the 5 modules from gender sensitization, so from today onwards, I am going to discuss question bank on each modules in a separate session. Okay. In this session, I am going to discuss question bank on module 1, titled Understanding Gender. So I will show you what are the questions that we will cover in module 1, Understanding Gender of Gender Sensitization. Okay. So let's look at the questions from module 1, Understanding Gender. First question, define gender and describe the concepts of gender. This is the question 1. Second question, what is sex and explain the concepts of sex. Third question, distinguish between sex and gender explicitly. Explicitly means clearly. Okay. And fourth question, explore the attitudes towards gender construction in society. This is question 4. And fifth question, depict the concept of making woman. This is question 5. And sixth question, what do you understand by the concept of making men? This is question 6. Seventh question, explain the concept of growing up male. Okay. So this is question number 8. And question number 7 is explain the concept of preparing for womanhood. Preparing for womanhood. This is question 7 and 8. And question number 9, elucidate the first lessons in caste by illustrating Ambedkar's life story. This is 9th question or question number 9. And the 10th question, describe clearly the objectives of gender sensitization. Question number 10. Okay. And finally, references. Okay, let's look at each and every question from module 1, Understanding Gender. So let's look at the first question. Define gender and explain or describe the concepts of gender. So I hope you all are familiar with module 1 so far, and you are all well aware of gender and its concepts. So let's look briefly into it. Gender is defined as the economic, social, political and cultural attributes and opportunities associated with being women and men. What is gender? Gender is defined as the economic, social, political and cultural attributes and opportunities associated with women and men. Once again, gender is defined as the economic, social, political and cultural attributes and opportunities associated with being women and men. Okay. So this is the clear-cut definition of gender and the concepts of gender. So before looking at the concepts of gender, we have to write some more about gender. That is, gender comes from the Latin word genus, from where the gender word arised. The word gender is arised. The word gender came from the Latin word genus. What is the Latin word? The gender came from genus, which means kind or type. Kind or type. Here, man or woman. Okay, masculine or feminine. Okay, so that is what the gender derived word. Gender derived word is genus. That is a Latin word which means kind or type. Means man or woman. Masculine or feminine. Okay. Masculine corresponds to man, whereas feminine corresponds to woman. Okay. And in the few hundred years before the 1950s, the term gender was used only in the field of grammar. Okay, a few hundred years before the 1950s, how the term gender is used? It is used only in the field of grammar, but not in the daily life. It is used only in the field of grammar. Okay, before few hundred years of 1950s. Okay, and in 1955, a scientist began to use the word gender in new ways when referring to people, in a way that was related to their sex, but not quite the same. But not quite the same. So, in the year 1955, a scientist began to use the word gender in new ways when referring to people, like as I said, masculine for man, feminine for woman, in a way that was related to their sex, means male, masculine, female, feminine. Okay, male, masculine. So these are starting with same letters. And similarly, female is sexual word and corresponding gender word is feminine. These two start with the same letters. Okay. So that is what a scientist in 1955 began to use this word gender in a new way when referring to people, in a way that was related to their sex, but not quite the same. But not quite the same. Only starting letters are matched. Okay. The gender concepts include gender discrimination, means segregation or partiality, that you are man and you are woman, or that you are male or you are female. Okay, means man is treated differently, whereas female is treated in a different way. So this is called gender discrimination. Okay, this will come under one of the concepts of gender. And gender roles. What are the roles given to gender? Since male is characterized by masculine nature, he generally used to prefer the works which carry weights because he is masculine. And since female is characterized by feminine nature, the soft related works, okay, soft works, not related to any weightliftings or not related to any hard things, okay, the soft work, soft things, okay, sitting on computer and typing and homework, caring children, like that society has assigned gender roles. Okay, gender roles and needs, their needs, what males need, what females need. And equality versus equity. What is gender equality and what is gender equity? And women empowerment, empowerment of women in the society. Women also as par with men in all the fields, that is women empowerment. And gender analysis, it is not that you are male or female, you have to analyze them based on their work weightage, based on their dedication, based on their determination, how they are acting towards the given work and towards successfully completing the given work and successfully conveying something to the society from the given work. Okay, so that is gender analysis and etc. So these all things can be explained as an answer to the question 1. Define gender and describe the concepts of gender. Okay, mainly gender is defined as the economical, social, political and cultural attributes and opportunities associated with being woman and man. Okay, now let's look at the second question. What is sex and explain the concepts of sex. Sex is defined as the biological and physiological characteristics of males and females, such as reproductive organs, chromosomes, and hormones. Once again, sex is defined as the biological and physiological characteristics of males and females, such as reproductive organs, chromosomes, and hormones. Okay, and the word sex comes from, or it came from, the Latin word sexus. Previously, the word gender came from the Latin word genus, which means kind or type. And here, the word sex came from the Latin word sexus, which means to cut. Sexus means to cut. But the original meaning was division. The original meaning was division. Division into male and female based on their chromosomes, as I have explained previously, reproductive organs and their hormones. Okay, it shifted to a way of dividing something in half. It shifted in a way of dividing something in half. Okay, dividing to half. Gender is divided to half. Half of the part is contributed by male and remaining half of the part is contributed by female. Okay, that is why the one division, original meaning division, is shifted to a way of dividing something in half. Okay, so that is what is the sex derived word sexus means. Okay, it means to cut. The original meaning is division, which shifted to a way of dividing something in half. Okay, to equal halves. Thus, to the division between men and women, men correspond to male, women correspond to female, and biological sex. So, male chromosomes are different, female chromosomes are different. That is the meaning it had in classical Latin. In classical Latin, it has the meaning of the division between men and women. Division corresponds to what? Division between what? Between men and women, male and female. Okay, and biological sex. Okay, male have different chromosomes, whereas female have different chromosomes. Their chromosomes are not the same pattern. So that is the meaning the word sex had in classical Latin. Sex concepts include biological differences between man and woman, terms in sex categories such as masculinity and femininity. So actual terms in sex category are male and female, but male is characterized by masculinity and female is characterized by femininity. Okay, so in overall, the word sex means, the word sex is defined as the biological and physiological characteristics of males and females, such as reproductive organs, chromosomes, and hormones. And the word sex is derived from the Latin word sexus, which means to cut. Original meaning is division. So it is shifted to a way of dividing something in half. So division between what? Between men and women and their biological sex, means their pattern of chromosomes. Okay. So these are all the various concepts of sex, and this is what is the answer to the second question from module 1. That is, what is sex and explain the concepts of sex. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. Question number 3. Distinguish between sex and gender explicitly, means distinguish between sex and gender clearly. You have to distinguish between these two terms in a explicit manner, clear manner. Okay, let's see. What is sex regard and what is the gender regard? Sex is biologically determined. As I told, the chromosome pattern is different. Whereas gender is constructed by society. Okay. Sex is biologically determined, whereas gender is constructed by society and our culture. Okay. And secondly, sex is universal for all human beings. Sex is universal for all human beings. And gender is multifaceted, differs within and between cultures. Okay, multifaceted, differs within and between cultures. So for gender, what we can say? It is multifaceted, differs within and between cultures. But sex is universal for all human beings. But gender is not universal. Gender differs from place to place. That is why it is multifaceted, differs within and between cultures. I hope the second difference is clear. And the thirdly, sex is unchanging, whereas gender is dynamic, means changes over time. Sex is unchanged, whereas gender is dynamic, which means that it changes over time. So how the gender changes over time? As I explained, gender is the one which is constructed by society and culture. So society may vary, culture may vary. So as a result, the gender values changes over time. Okay, and sex is inborn. By birth itself, you will get the particular sex, either male regarding or female regarding. Whereas gender is acquired. Gender is not inborn or by birth. Gender is acquired. Means we have to achieve it by getting fame in the society. By getting fame in the society, you have to achieve the gender. You have to acquire the gender. Okay? Because it corresponds to or it is defined as economical, political, social and cultural variable. Okay? So you can explain more explicitly such that dimensions of sex. As I told, sex is a biological variable as the chromosome pattern is different in males and females, whereas gender is a social and cultural variable. Sex is a biological variable, whereas gender is a social and cultural variable. Okay. I hope by these words you will have clear understanding between sex and gender that I have explained when I am explaining this module itself. Okay. Now you can see the terms regarding sex: anatomy, physiology, genetics, hormones. Anatomy regards sex, physiology regarding to sex, genetics is the word which corresponds to sex, hormones is also the word which correspond to sex. And what are the various words that indicate or that represent gender? Identity in the society, roles and norms, what he is acting or what he is doing, and the relations in the society and the power in the society. These things are the gender related terms. Anatomy, physiology, genetics, and hormones are the sex related terms. Identity, roles and norms, relations, and power are the gender related terms. As I told, sex is a biological variable and gender is a cultural and society or social variable. Okay, social and cultural variable. Now let's look into the next question. So this is the difference or distinction between sex and gender in explicit manner. Okay. So now let's move on to the fourth question. That is, explore the attitudes towards gender construction in society. Explore the attitudes towards gender construction in society. This is the question number 4. Okay. So what are the attitudes towards gender construction in society? In our society, as I told, Fame is constructed in a different way. By cycling, you can create a fame. World record you can get in cycling, or a national record you can get, or a particular region also you can get record in the particular region. Then also you will get certain fame. So that is how the gender is constructed, whether it is man or woman, that doesn't matter. Okay, gender is constructed by their attitude, what kind of functions or what kind of activities they are function. Okay, for example, he is well educated, and let's say he is a scientist and doing good for the society. He is inventing the medicine for cancer. Then let's say if he is supposed to get success, then the fame of him in the society will be quite high. It will be in the apex level. Okay, so that is how gender construction will be created in the society, and these are the attitudes towards gender construction in the society. Okay, I hope you understood the way that you are acting in the society, or that the way you are doing in the society. Okay, and the records you are getting in the society, that will be considered as gender construction. Okay, now by looking at these wonderful own answers for the exploring attitudes towards gender construction in society, let's move on to the next question. Question number 5. Depict the concept of making woman. How can you depict the concept of making woman? The concept of making woman can be depicted by teaching the values of woman in the society. A woman is like a mother, sister, and wife to the persons in the society accordingly. Okay? A woman is considered sister to everyone except her husband and except her relatives. Okay? So, how do you make woman in the society? Woman is made from the mother's womb. Similarly, male or man is also made from the mother's womb. But here, concept of making woman means making her roles in the society. Okay, so making woman strong, you can say. So the way of teaching life by her father, okay, is very very crucial in making a right woman. Okay, so from childhood onwards, one has to, especially the father and mother, has to teach. They have to teach the way of living in a proper way without having any gender discrimination, means gender equality. The parents have to grow the child. So that is how making women is possible in the society without any gender discrimination. Okay, I hope you can write the answer for this question in explicit manner. Now let's look at the next question. Question number 6, that is, what do you understand by the concept of making men? As I told, men can also be made from mother's womb, but this is common to both men and women. Now, what you have to understand here, the parents have to teach the way of living, and mother will generally take care, like more than anyone, and father will protect from any kind of dangers that can be predicted in future. Okay, so in general, society attributes these kind of roles to the parents. But the main role that can be attributed to the parents is to grow the child without any gender discrimination. They should not divide, this work should be done by male, or this work should be done by female, or this work should be done by boy, or this work should be done by girl, or this by man, or this by woman. Okay, so one should not categorize the work. So they have to treat them equally from childhood onwards. then in their mind one thing will be created or generated strongly, that both the gender are equal, there is no difference between gender. So that kind of mentality one should bring in them to make the concept of making men, and similarly to make the concept of making woman. Okay, I hope you understood how to answer and how to address this question if it is asked in the examination or any other places. Okay, now let's look at the next question, seventh one, or question number 7. Explain the concept of preparing for womanhood. How do you prepare for womanhood? Womanhood means, what is the specific character of woman? Being a mother in the society. Okay, means once after married, she will be having interaction with husband, then she will get motherhood. Motherhood is characteristic of womanhood. Okay, so as a woman, after getting married, she will become a mother, and she has to take care of their child without the feeling of gender discrimination that she or he has faced in the earlier days. Okay, so gender should be created equally in the society. So that kind of mindset should be given to the child from the childhood onwards. Then it will be strongly growing in the mind, and they will not have that kind of mentality that both the genders are different. So that is what the womanhood main function. They have to grow their children without any gender discrimination. They have to grow in such a way that they should not teach gender. This should be done by this man. This should be done by woman. They should not teach these kind of things. Then they will think, oh, man is different, woman is different. So gender equality must be taught by childhood onwards, from the childhood onwards by the parents. Okay, so that is how we can prepare for motherhood, by teaching the students in the gender equal society to achieve gender sensitization. And I hope you can answer this question well if it is asked in the exam or any other places in the interview or anywhere. Now let's move on to the next question. Question number 8. Describe the concept of growing up male. How do you grow up male? Not only male, even female can also be grown up in the same way as male. As I told, gender equality should be created in the minds of young children, such that gender roles means this gender have to do this kind of task, or this gender has to do that kind of task. These kind of things should not be taught. As these things are taught, they will think in mind that okay, male can do different kind of works, female can do different kind of works, or man can do different kind of works, or female can do different kind of works. This kind of mindset if they get, what happens? They will think that gender is not equal. So they will start discriminating gender from that stage onwards. Then if they grow up in the society, then the gender discrimination will be varied to great extent in the society. So which is not suggested while growing up male or female. So gender equality should be taught to them, and the way of living life, and the way how to protect the family, and the way how to care the child in the childhood. Okay, without having the characterizations of gender inequality or gender discrimination and so on. Okay, so that is how we have to address this question if asked in the exam or anywhere in the interview or anywhere. Okay, now let's go to the next question, ninth one. Elucidate first lessons in caste by illustrating Ambedkar's life story. What should be taught as a first lesson to the child? Every child should learn the first lesson in caste. Means one should be with respect to caste. There should be no discrimination. So means by caste he should not have any partiality, and by religion he should not have any partiality. Okay, so no caste discrimination, no religion discrimination, then the society will grow in these terms very nicely, and gender sensitization can be achieved. So what is the Ambedkar's life story? He faced many hurdles that I explained in the during the module explanation. So mainly Ambedkar faced untouchability. What he faced? Untouchability. Why he faced untouchability? Because of gender discrimination. Gender discrimination. And also because of gender inequality. In several modes or in several ways, especially in color, means racism. So you are white, you are black, you are red, like this kind of racism is also gender inequality or gender discrimination. Okay, so that is why one should be beyond those things. So one should direct the upcoming generation or the now recent generation also towards the gender equal society to achieve gender sensitization. Okay, so that is how you have to teach the Ambedkar's life story as a first lesson to every child in the caste. Okay, to get awareness on this kind of issues and to move in the society in a gender equal manner without having untouchability, without showing gender discrimination, or without showing gender inequality feelings such as racism and all. In any field, as per the caste or as per the religion or as per the color, gender should not be discriminated or gender should not be treated unequally. Okay, I hope you are clear in addressing this question. And let's move on to the next question. 10th one. Question number 10. Describe clearly the objectives of gender sensitization. So the first and foremost and the main objective of gender sensitization is to achieve gender equality. To achieve gender equality. Next. To get rid of gender discrimination. Gender discrimination. In the respects of racism and corresponding gender roles. Okay, we can see nowadays both the gender is equally sharing the work in all the fields, even in hardware field, software field, not only in software field but also in hardware field. Women are equally contributing. Means masculine nature is also attributed by women nowadays. Okay, so that is why gender discrimination should be avoided, and gender roles, this should be done by this gender and that should be done by that gender. That kind of role should not be attributed to the gender, to avoid the gender discrimination and to get the or to achieve the gender equality. These are the main objectives of gender sensitization, and for more you can go through the module. What is the name of the module? Understanding gender. I hope you can address any question from understanding gender by looking at this session or by hearing it this session. Okay. Okay. The references I followed were Gender Studies by Kadambari and Gender Sensitization by Rajalakshmi Kalyan. Thank you very much for your kind attention and all the very best.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.